Hey, let's get vulnerable, fam. I have something so special for you. You are not going to want to miss this. This is my gift to you this month, right now. You can get access to one of my famous 3-day challenges. This is a challenge that people loved. We had hundreds of people participate in this. It changed lives. So I don't want you to miss out on it. All you have to do, you can go to the link in the show notes and sign up. And what's going to happen is we'll be sending you the recordings directly to your inbox. So you can watch it on your own time. But for 3 days in a row, you're going to get access to these recordings. Like I said, this is from the vault. I'm bringing it back because we've had so many people who loved this challenge. Just so you get an idea of what it is, day one, it's all about understanding your dating patterns and cycles and also fully releasing your past. Day two, this is really powerful. It's all about rewiring your brain for a great relationship, how to create a healthy relationship belief system, absolute game changer. And then day three is all about attracting healthy love, becoming securely attached, embodying secure attachment. You do not want to miss this challenge. It is so good. All you have to do is go to the link in the show notes and sign up, and it's going to be automatically sent to your inbox. So look for that link. Don't miss out on this. It's my gift to you. You're going to love it. Welcome, everyone, to the Let's Get Vulnerable podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Morgan, and we have a very special guest with us, Rachael Thomas. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I'm so excited that you are here. You all are going to love Rachael. Rachael is a graduate of the Empowered.Secure.Loved program. And I want to introduce you to her just a bit. I have her bio right here. Rachael is a life coach specializing in personal transformation and leadership development. She's based in New Zealand. She loves getting out in nature, learning, devouring podcasts on the daily, such as this gem, and spending time with her 5-year-old son, Harpa. Rachael is a proud solo mama, and she believes in the power of creating and recreating yourself at any age. So beautiful. And I'm so thrilled that you're here with us today. I want to just start with your story. And if you would, I mean, go back as far as you want. I mean, you can tell us a little bit about growing up for you or your childhood experiences, but help us understand how you got to the place where you knew that, okay, I need to do deeper work on my relationships. I need to do the Empowered Secure Love program.
Okay, yeah. Oh, where to start? I would say that I have always felt really good in all other areas of my life other than the dating space. So I've kind of, even in my bio, it's talking about being obsessed with podcasts and reading and personal development and understanding myself better and in my brain and others around me. But when it came to dating, none of that seems to apply. I couldn't just apply all of those lessons and learnings to what I was doing with the opposite sex. So I would find myself kind of in these loops of meeting the same kind of people and being in situations where I just kind of found myself uncomfortable when I was in it, but I couldn't figure out why. And it was a repetitive cycle. I was with someone for a sort of a longer period of time. He was my partner. We had a baby together, Harper. But the cycle was quite unhealthy. So, after he had found myself in a situation with a person where, when the relationship got deeper, I realized there were issues there. I just didn't really understand where the issues were coming from and why they were there. It was just almost just trying to manage what was in front of me rather than sort of get to understand what was underneath it all. And so it was quite toxic, and that ended, and that was a really good thing for me. Because I kind of had this fresh slate, and by the time I'd sort of gone through the healing process, which was a long, long process, and I think I probably got into dating way too quickly. But you do, right? You don't know when you're ready. And everyone around me was kind of moving on and doing their own things. So I felt this kind of urge to get back in there and to find a partner and to create a life that I wanted to create, to get it right. But it just didn't seem to be working for me. And again, I was back on the dating scene. I was this quote unquote new person. I'd done even more work on myself, but I was still meeting the same kinds of people or finding myself in the same situation, which was that I would get in the relationship or be dating a person and feel really uncomfortable when I got there, but no idea why. And I started to sort of recognize there was something going on with me, right? That was creating this, that was attracting this. And so I just totally got to the point where I was like, I don't want to keep repeating this. And I had pulled myself off the shelf almost, I was like, right, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm just not going to date. I'm going to focus on me. So I was, getting really stuck into my business, which was now booming. I had a great group of friends around me. I had my beautiful son who gave me a lot of love as well, which can be kind of a trap as a single mother because you kind of feel safe and secure in the love that you have. But it's obviously not a romantic love. I still really wanted that deep down. But instead I was doing the things and creating all the other parts of my life. And I bought a house and I got a dog and I did it in the same month, which I don't recommend. But then, I was still feeling this gap. And I was listening to your podcast a lot at that time. I don't know how it came across my listening playlist, but it got there and I was stoked. Because I started listening to you and the conversations that you were having, and you were talking about attachment style, and some kidneys started dropping, and I was like, "Oh, that's me. I'm that." I really, connected to a lot of the conversation, but I also knew that I wanted to understand, well, what's my own attachment style. So I'm connecting with both types of attachment. So which one am I, and how is this playing out in my dating situations? So I took the test and figured out my attachment style, which was the first step. And then obviously going back and kind of connecting more with your content and going deeper with it. And I would hear about the program and I was like, oh, that sounds really good, but I've just bought a house and I've just bought a dog. And, a lot of change was happening in my life. But I am the sort of person that once I get an idea in my head, I can't let it go. So I got in touch with your people. And I just sort of asked the question, what does this entail? And I ended up having this really beautiful one-on-one sort of, chemistry conversation with one of your team. And I think I learned more about myself in that 1 hour, sitting on, by the way, on the side of the road in the back of my car, in a hot car, just like going deep. I did not expect it to be that in-depth and that, it really struck a chord with me because she was asking these questions that made a lot of sense, and it was connecting back to childhood stuff and my attachment styles as a child, my need for love, and all of these other things that I hadn't really considered on a deeper level because I was working with what was on the surface and what I was conscious of. So after that call I was like, well I need more of that. I need to go deeper with that because that's that's where it's at. I knew there was something in that. So yeah, I was like, right. I mean, it's a busy time of year, but why not just throw one more thing in there? Because I'm investing in all these other things, but I'm not investing in myself and my love life. It was the one thing I wasn't investing in. So I was like, let's do it. And here I am.
I love it. And I know we're going to get all into your experience in the program and the breakthroughs that you've had during your time with us. You said something so important there just a second ago about being so comfortable investing in all the other areas of our lives. I think that can happen to especially high achieving women, overachieving women. We can get so comfortable showing up in our careers or in our health and fitness or all these other areas, putting our time and effort there. But when it comes to actually healing and doing that inner deep work, it's really easy to procrastinate on that, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's so easy because there's so much else going on that you can invest your time and energy into. And I think as well on a really unconscious level, it's theory.
I agree.
It's vulnerable. And it's scary.
It's messy. I think we go, okay, career's easy, show up, do better, work harder. I can move up in my career. Health and fitness, same kind of thing. I can show up, put energy into it. I know I'm going to get better results. But when it comes to healing, it's messy and it can bring up so much fear. And particularly if we don't have the correct guidance, we can get really stuck in it really easily.
I think so. And, I felt like I had guidance because I said, I'm really into podcasts. I'm really into learning. So I was following a lot of Matthew Hussey's work as well at the time. And I was listening to him on repeat because I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to get it. It's going to click eventually. I just need to listen to the next podcast. The next thing will help me understand why I keep doing this, why this cycle keeps continuing. But I think, and no sort of on what he does, I think he does a great job, but there was something missing. There was a depth missing. There was a connection between what I was doing and what my results were that wasn't coming through from that. And when I found your podcast, I think the thing that connected for me was the internal work. Because it's kind of like you can look at the surface stuff on what you're doing and the behaviors and the people that you're meeting and what to say and how to text and, all of that. None of that matters if you haven't done that internal work and understand, who you're choosing and why you're choosing them and where it's coming from. And are you secure? Because if none of that is...
It's so true. That's exactly what I preach is, we have to be able to do that deep internal work so that we become different instead of trying to change our behaviors and how we show up, right? It gets to become natural and easy and fun when we do that deeper work that allows us to be securely attached, and then the behaviors and everything shows up naturally. So I'm so glad that you made that connection. And oh my gosh, I just think about all the women out there who are so smart and they're incredibly intelligent and they're taking in all the podcasts and they're reading all the books. They're doing all this learning. But that doesn't translate to the internal work and the internal shifts. It's just not the same.
No, and I think that can also result in kind of like feeling like a bit of a failure or a mess. Like you said, it's messy work. And I think for me, I genuinely felt like there's something wrong with me. That's why none of these ideas were landing for me. That's why no matter what, book I read or podcast I listened to, I wasn't able to actually get the results that they were speaking to. And I think in doing the work around attachment, it's a self-compassion that you're showing yourself. It's an understanding yourself, and it's a knowing that it's nothing you're doing wrong. It's just who you're being, or how you're understanding who you are. And I think that level of self-compassion and awareness enables you to allow yourself to be vulnerable and to go out there in a way that is more you, right? So you're not taking all these tools on board and being all of these things and saying all of these things that you think will create a great outcome. You're actually just being you. You're being secure, and you're centering into that internal compass of what you want and not what others want. You're not appealing to what other people want. You're showing up as you. And that is that secure feeling, knowing that you can be who you are. And if that's not received in a way that you want it to be received, that's okay. That's not your person. There's no harm, no foul, right? You can just move on.
Yes, I love this. So you're getting into the early stages of dating as a securely attached person and how that's different once you're able to do those internal shifts and become securely attached, how different those early stages of dating are. Tell me about that. Like, what has been the difference for you compared to past Rachael in her early to now? What would be different?
I think I'm a lot more, my brain feels a lot less busy. It's a lot simpler.
I love that.
Before I had all of these ideas swirling around in my head and I couldn't really relax into what I was doing and how I was being. And now knowing who I am and knowing what my standards are, I'm able to relax more and I'm able to go out there and just be myself and attract in, people that I want to hang around with. And if it's not going well, I kind of have all these tools now and tips that I can apply to make decisions from a place of security rather than fear, or, you know, I know when it's time to end something rather than to play it out or to go around all my friends and to ask them, what do they think? Or, you know, how can I do this differently? And I think, you know, there's no game playing. It's just you go in there, you know who you are, you know what you want. If it doesn't work out, you go back and you start again. And it's not taking it really personally. And it's not, for me, being like a yo-yo, dipping in and out of dating apps. Like, oh my God, I was over it. It's like, I was actually going on there, and it was almost like I really didn't feel invested, because I felt like, well, I know where this is going to go. We're going to go for a date and this is going to happen. And it's just a waste of my precious time, right? Because we're busy as a single mum. I didn't have heaps of time for it. So it's kind of, my mindset wasn't right when I was doing it before. And now I think when you just allow yourself to go and experiment and to, like, as you say, you're kind of gathering data, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but it's all helping you to understand what you want and build that picture of what, you know, what's right for you. So all of the data gathering is valuable. It's just knowing me to let it go and when to step back and to not feel guilt about that, because I think my anxious tendency would be to hold a lot of guilt if I had to tell someone I wasn't into them, and I might drag that out a little bit longer, and that might feel really awkward. And you wouldn't want to ghost, right? Because that's not a cool thing to do. But it's like, how do you tell someone? How do you upset someone? I would find myself in that loop, like not wanting to let someone down. But then eventually you're going to do that anyway if you drag it out. So I think when you're secure, you just know what's right for you and what's not right for you. And you're able to say that from an honest and kind place. And I think being able to lean into that part of me that was brave, and knew that she was allowed to not necessarily take everything, you know, like, just because someone wants to be with you and they're saying they're really into you, it doesn't mean that you have to accept that if it's not right for you, and it doesn't make you a bad person. You just know what you want. And I think there perhaps are a lot of us out there that are doing that feel like, you know, we're too picky, and we've got people around us kind of echoing that theme. But we know what we want and we know who we are, and it's not going to happen overnight. But trusting that process, I think, has been really, really, really helpful for me.
Oh, I hear so many wonderful themes in what you're talking about. And this is where I hope everyone who graduates the program gets to, which is where you have rock solid self-trust. A lot of what you're talking about is self-trust and also identity development. You talked about standards, right? We do a lot of identity work in the program. That morning alignment document, one of the very first things we do, the secure you identity. Can you just tell us a little bit about what the identity development work has been like for you?
Well, I think, you know, starting the day, you know, holding the highest version of yourself in front of you and connecting with that person and embodying that person and knowing that that's who you are, that's who you're meant to be. For me, being a coach, it's something that I do anyway, is try to set myself up for the day in a way that feels positive and get my mindset in the right space right from the word go. Like, start the morning thinking about what I'm grateful for. But, you know, this document goes deeper than that. It's who you are. It's who you're looking to embody. It's a manifestation of what you want to create. And I think if you're looking at that every single day, you're going to start to become that. Like, it's just the way the brain works. What we focus on, we start to embody. So, you know, a lot of this is back to neuroscience, which I love. It's actually changing the wiring of your brain. So that aligning with my highest version of me, thinking about the person that the standard that I set for myself, and therefore knowing what I will say yes and no to in the day, and, you know, down to the little things. What would that person do? What would that person say? So really connecting with that. But also the secure version of me, I think, just checking in with myself and what would the secure version of me do in this situation? And it's really helped me. That piece has helped me a lot, because I do, you know, like any change, it takes time. and your brain wants to go back to the original wiring. It's more familiar, and it's kind of your habitual way of being. So when you're making these changes, it's about repetition. It's about applying simple concepts so that change can actually happen. And so just this little trick of asking myself, checking in with myself and saying, what would my secure self do or say? Or thinking about someone that I believe to be really secure in their relationship, and sort of thinking, what would they do? So taking it outside of myself and enabling that secure version of myself to come forward and tell me almost what the answer is in this moment. And it's always the right one, because I think the dominant attachment style might still be driving. So I have to go deeper and connect with that secure person and hear from that level what they have to say. And that's how the change has been happening for me. So I think the tools are crucial for this, because without them, you're still probably going to be operating from the original headspace. I don't think you can do it without the tools. I think you have to really follow the process, and help your brain to rewire and to find a new way of being. And that's certainly what I've found. And so it's made it all become easier as I go along, because the secure answers are getting closer now. It's becoming more familiar for me.
I love that so much. And that's so much of what I say about in the beginning, you have to really slow down and
You do.
intentionally choose secure.
Yeah.
And over time, it just becomes your default, and it becomes, okay, this is where I'm hanging out 95% of the time.
Yeah.
But building that clear identity and knowing, okay, this is the secure me. If we don't know the destination, we can never get there. So we have
No.
to do that deep identity work, and get super, super clear on who is the securely attached Rachel, right? Like how does she show up? And
Yeah.
then once we do that, the realignment gets so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, even, for me, there's the what would the secure me do, and then the insecure me, or the other versions of me, the anxious version. I might hold some compassion there and go, well, I know why. I know why that's there. I don't know where that
This is
comes from. Yeah.
this is what I think a lot of, and yeah, I've seen a lot of other programs out there, because I always like to know what else is being offered, because I want to make sure that we're the best. And I think that's one of the things that I think some relationship programs miss, is they miss that, okay, we have to look at the past relational trauma. We have to
Yeah.
understand the root. We have to understand the why.
Absolutely.
What was that like for you, doing the inventory?
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was the most, I think, it was the most transformational part of the whole process. Right back to that first call. Right back to the first call that I sat in the back of the car in the heat, and she asked me some questions. And as I said, like, it was like real breakthrough moments for me, because I had not been connecting my my childhood and my parental love with who I am now, and what I expect, and what I, my standards now based off that. And so I think that was that, and having that be at the beginning of the program as well, it's ideal, obviously, because you're getting to the root cause of what you are experiencing now. And I think to be able to deeply understand it about myself, I was able to have so much more compassion for myself, and understand that it was an adaptation, it was an adaptive behavior, that I could love myself for, and go, okay, well, I didn't just become this person that is this way. I learned this way. I adapted with this, and this actually really, it helped me through childhood. So, in a way, it was a protector for me, but I don't need that now, right? So it's not serving me. So I think being able to understand that, and sort of almost love the inner child that needed that, but also say that you're safe now and you can be secure. And to go a layer deeper, for me, it was, okay, so how do I give that to myself? How do I soothe myself? How do I stop going out there for, that feeling, and to give it to myself? Because once you can do that, you really are dating from a place of security, because you're not seeking something you don't have already. You're feeling that inner love inside yourself, and you're just wanting to celebrate that with someone else that is doing the same, right? It's on the same journey and not seeking something from you that they don't have. So you become this really beautiful match. And whilst I haven't found that beautiful match yet, I know that that's what it will feel like. And when I'm in my secure self, that's where it will come from. So I think, yeah, the deep work is incredible and it's been transformational for me. And I can see it in other people, you know, when I hear friends talking about dating or situations that haven't gone well for them, I kind of immediately start recognizing attachment styles. And I just think, you know, like if you understood this work, it would make it so much easier because you would not be playing around with that BS. You know, you'd just be saying no.
It's like a dating secret language. Once
Yeah.
you understand it, you can't unsee it. And just
Mm.
that's why I call it applied attachment theory, because you're able to apply it to your own dating patterns and your relationships, and it just
Yeah.
happens naturally. There's so much gold in what you shared, Rachel. Oh my gosh, I feel like
Into
this
this.
is so inspiring for people listening, of being able to get to this place where you are dating from self-confidence and self-love, and you're not looking for someone to fill a void.
No,
It's that truth of, wow, when I find someone, it's going to be a multiplier of the
yeah.
love that I have, but
Hmm.
I'm not waiting for someone to choose me in order for me to feel good enough or to feel
Yeah.
worthy, right?
Yeah.
It's such a felt energy. I've been thinking a lot
Yes.
about this. It's not even what you say or what you wear or anything surface level. This is an emotional felt, that it's an energy that's felt on a nervous system level, that
Yeah.
when you shift these things, you start being attracted. Well, I'm curious, before I say this, do you feel like you're attracted to different types of people than you were in the past?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think I'm attracted to different types of people, but I think when you speak about the energy piece, it really resonated for me because I think when you are in the presence of someone that is avoidant or particularly anxious, you actually sense that in
You
your own
feel it.
body. You feel it. And if you're like me and you're naturally adaptive, I'm like sun adapting to these styles and making them feel all comfortable being that way. So the avoidant person, maybe you try to give them that space, or the person that is anxious, you're not saying things or doing things or texting them more because you sense that they need that. And I think that awareness for me has been really, really helpful. I can be compassionate as well and go, okay, well, this person, you know, this needs to heal something in themselves. But Coach Rachel doesn't stand up and go, and here I am to help you. You
Yes,
know,
we're
like
no
in the
longer helping
past,
people. We're no longer, no, no,
no,
no.
no. So in the past, I would have, you know, held their hand and gone deep with them and perhaps thought that I could help. It's not my job to do that. It's not my place either. I don't want that to become the dynamic. And I think seeing that as well, because if you are the sort of person that, and I think a lot of us, we all just want to help people, right? And a lot of us are people pleasers. You know, I do coaching. I come across a lot of people that are people pleasers as well, and that can get us in trouble as well because we want to help, we want to fix. We want to make people feel comfortable being the way that they are. And that's fine, but that means you're changing the way that you are. So for me, it's been understanding that I don't have to do that anymore. And I can walk away and I can say it's not for me without fear of being not liked or upsetting someone. Because at the end of the day, I'm just going to keep repeating the patterns and upsetting myself. I've got to stick with it. So I think it's just really helped me to see what's in front of me, to see what's really there rather than projecting or trying to transform something. I can just see what's there, and it takes less of my energy because I don't have to do anything with that. I can make a decision and I can walk away if I want to.
Oh, so good. Let's talk about an exercise that helps you break patterns, which is the repetition compulsion and writing
Mm,
letters. How
mm.
how was that part of the program for you?
For me, it was confronting, I think, because you know, as I said, I had been doing a lot of the same behaviors. It was something that I felt almost like I was in this unconscious cycle of doing the same thing and thinking the same thoughts. It was something that I had absolutely no awareness of while I was in it. So I think sitting down and having it in front of you and seeing what's going on is a really, for me, it was this kind of light bulb moment, like, oh my gosh, this isn't outside of me. It's not something that I can't control. This is coming from inside of me. It was being able to see the patterns sort of play out and then be able to make a different decision from there. I think, historically, if I had been in this situation, I would have just gone in and done the same thing and had absolutely no idea what was going on.
Yes. And kind of releasing that unfinished business, if there was anything left from past relationships, right? Like being able to just get that out and make sure that you're not repeating patterns as a way to try to solve unfinished business from childhood. I just think, ooh, it's such a game changer once we do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just, again, it's like it's figuring out, it's sifting through everything that's already there. And that starts to kind of become this sort of messy situation when you go out and you can't see what's right in front of you because you're kind of stuck in the past.
Yes.
Without even really knowing it. And I think patterns that have happened are kind of still running you and you're just not aware of it. So it's the ability to kind of wipe the slate clean and figure out where you're actually coming from.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And get to this place that we love to call intentional dating, right? Intentionally, securely attached dating that gets to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And it does. And I think there's nothing to fear around the dating piece. And for those people that feel like it's gotten to the point where they're just over it or they're exhausted by it and they've had enough of it, I was that person. I felt that way. I know exactly what it's like, and you almost do, like, you find yourself saying, okay, well, maybe I just don't need a partner. Maybe I'm just doing this by myself because it's so much easier and I know how to deal with me. But what I would say is you deserve it. And I deserve it. I know that I deserve it. And I think it doesn't have to be super complicated, but when you can go and do something like this and learn all of the things to help sort of put you in this different headspace and align yourself with who you truly are and sort of almost take back control of the whole situation, it can become far more enjoyable. And you're not kind of at the mercy of your patterns. You get to create what you're doing.
How does it feel for you getting to be a securely attached model for your son?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing because, of course, you apply everything you know to the way that you parent as well. And I start to think about the sorts of things that I say and do and could create for him that might start some kind of tendency towards a certain attachment style. So it's really helped me think about that piece as well. And for him, absolutely. Like, I didn't have the securely attached role models, which is why I didn't really know what it was. So I think that is definitely a goal for me, is to show him what that looks like so that he can play that as well. Because, of course, we repeat the cycles of our parents and, their parents before them, and children learn by seeing. So I want to role model that for him 100%. And I don't want him to learn what toxic love looks like and then go out and expect that or accept that. I want him to accept a higher standard for himself as well.
Love that. And that's honestly one of the biggest motivators for a lot of our clients, is they come to me and they say, I want to be a good example for my kid. And I just think that's a beautiful reason for doing the work, and probably one of the most important reasons is being able to stop the patterns and be a really powerful model for the people in our lives. And obviously it's also your friends, your family, anyone in your life. You get to start showing up as that securely attached model, and it's just so powerful. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just knowing why you're doing what you're doing and understanding yourself is the most powerful thing you can possibly do. Yeah, I think everything else from there is easy when you understand yourself and hold compassion for yourself as well and others around you. you know, because you might not be able to change what's going on around you, but to understand where people are coming from, those protective dynamics that you see showing up, and then to be able to hold compassion for that, it helps those relationships as well with your own parents and with your friends and, you know, my sisters. It's been really, really helpful.
Amazing. I have kind of a random question for you. I'm just curious about this. We have a lot of support in the program. There's the Facebook group, the group calls twice a week with myself and then other coaches as well. Obviously, the one-on-one coaching calls. What was your favorite support while you were in the program?
Well, hands down the coaching, said the coach. Yeah, no, it was great. It was really cool. And I found as well with each person, you learn something a little bit different about yourself, obviously different coaching styles. So I got to work with a few different coaches, including you. And I think for me, it was just taking I guess it felt like I was held in all of the work that I was doing. And I actually decided while I was doing the course to begin dating again. You know, I started working through the dating content and learning some new ways or thought processes and tools that I could apply. And I was like, well, what better time to go out there and actually apply this than when I get to sit down with a coach and reflect back what happened and maybe get some help around that. So I think it almost gave me the boost of confidence that I was going to be held. There was going to be someone to talk to. It didn't go that well, or if I wanted to sort of understand, for me, it was, I think in that process, it was saying, well, I still feel this way, or I don't quite understand this. How does this connect? And being able to have a sounding board to put that out there and to work with that information and make sense of it, and then go back out there and keep going and keep understanding the course content as well. So I think it worked beautifully together. And also, of course, the Facebook group, you've got a whole bunch of women that are in the same position as you know, so you don't feel like you're alone. And I think as humans, we just want to feel like we're not the only one. Okay, we can connect with other people in our challenge. And that's what you're doing there. You're connecting with other women, but you're also lifting each other up and empowering each other and cheering each other on as you go through the process, sharing what you're learning and insights, and perhaps seeing someone else's insight and going, oh my God, that's exactly the way I felt or the way I feel. So I think extra support, wrecks support around you as you go through. So you're not alone, and you have these amazing women in it with you. So yeah.
Yeah, the Facebook group is one of my favorite things about the program as well, because you just get to see everyone interacting and supporting each other. And I know you were really engaged in there, which is always good to see. And I'm just so grateful to get to have this conversation with you and have you be part of our community. My last question for you is, if someone has been on the fence, they've been thinking about doing the program, they're kind of scared, or they're just like, oh, well, it works for Rachel, I don't know if it's going to work for me. What would you say to that person?
I would just say, how much time are you willing to wait or waste? You know, because once you're in there and you do it, change happens really quickly, almost immediately. So I think you can continue doing what you've been doing, and you know the definition of insanity is do what you've done and expect a different outcome, or you can try something that it really does work. I stand behind it 100%. And for someone that was self-confessed, a person that I genuinely didn't think that I could find love, or that I could date, or that I could do it from a secure place. I genuinely didn't think that was even possible for me or available for me to have been able to do this and to feel the results of this and then see how that's positively impacting my dating life. I think you just got to jump. Sometimes, you know, you've got to invest in yourself. Think about all the other things that you invest in. You're just as important. And once you've done it, you kick yourself for not having done it sooner, like I did.
Rachel, oh, you are just so easy to talk with. I feel like we could talk for hours probably. This has been such a helpful interview. I do want to just give you a little bit of space. If there's any way that you want to inspire someone who is stuck or someone who's struggling, what would just be some words of compassion, love, or inspiration for that person who's feeling really stuck?
I would say it's okay. You're not going to be there forever. The fact that you even know you're stuck is amazing, right? You've got the awareness that something's not working and that you don't want to be there anymore. And I think that's where all of this comes from. It's the thing that happens after that. It's the action that you take from there. It's choosing yourself and saying that you're worthy of something better, which clearly you know you are, right? Nobody wants to be stuck and nobody wants to feel that way. So I would say have compassion for yourself and then find the energy, find the courage inside yourself to stand up and do something different and to choose yourself, whatever that looks like. And even if it's, you don't want to invest financially in yourself, or perhaps you don't know that you're worthy of love, or you've never believed that you're worthy of love. I think everyone is worthy. Now is the time to stand up and choose you and to do something for you, because unfortunately, no one else is coming to do that for you. It's got to be you. So yeah, that's kind of, I guess I speak from a place inside myself. That's why I chose this for myself. I knew that no one else was going to come and do this for me. And at the end of the day, and there's always something missing for me. So
I love your vulnerability, Rachel, because you are someone who is very accomplished. You're a coach yourself. You have so many areas of your life figured out. And at the same time, you realized, hey, this was an area that I needed help in. Just like, God forbid we have cancer. We don't try to solve it ourselves, right? It's like,
yeah,
I don't know why we will sometimes have so much stigma around getting help when it's like, hey, there's an area of your life you need help in. You deserve the support. You deserve to get the help. So I love when it's someone like you who is just so accomplished in so many ways, and at the same time can be vulnerable and say, hey, this was something I finally admitted to myself. I can't do this alone, and I wish I would have done it sooner. And I think by you saying that, you're going to inspire other people who've been putting it off, or not feeling like they're worthy, or feeling ashamed and feeling like there's something wrong with them, right? So thank you for being vulnerable in that way.
No worries. Yeah, I think it's so important. It's so important because for me, I look to other women that are doing vulnerable as well, going out there and saying, this is hard for me too. We've got to be real. We've got to be honest about where we are on the journey, and we can have all of these amazing things in our lives, and we can have accomplished a lot, but still have struggle in this space. I think, but it's like, well, but are more people not talking about this? Why are more people not acknowledging that we can't outgrow our parental, familial stories, right? Or we can, but we can't do it alone. And it's just not being spoken about.
It's not. Even myself, in getting a doctorate in clinical psychology and being a psychologist, and I was still repeating toxic patterns for years. And obviously I created the program for a reason. There's nothing in the program that I myself didn't need. I had to put myself through everything that people do inside the program in order for myself to shift. Meanwhile, I was a psychologist. Like, I just think, no one can escape these patterns if there are these internal attachment system issues. And we just have to be willing to do the work. And it's once you have the support, the framework, the guidance through it, the shifts can start to happen really, really quickly.
Yeah, they can. And I think it's almost like it's too much to be true. Like, really? Is it that easy? Was it? But I think that's how our brains work. It's like a mind spot. You didn't see it before, which is why you keep making the mistake that you're making, or being the way that you were being. But once you see the thing that you couldn't see, you can't unsee it again, right? And that's, I think that for me, that's what sparked this whole part of my brain to light up and come online, and it made this whole area available to me in the first place. So it really is kind of magic, right? In some ways, it does feel that way. But yeah, it's doable. I think anyone can do it. You just have to, if it comes down to investing in yourself, making the decision and jumping, and knowing that you'll get as much out of it as you put into it, right?
Yes. I had one of my clients say to me, "You're my secure attachment fairy godmother." Because she felt that way. She's like, "It's magic. You waved the wand, you know." So I'll take it. Secure attachment fairy godmother. This has been such a good interview. Rachel, I always ask all of our people who come on one last question. But I do actually want to make sure people can find you. I need to mention that. So you're on Instagram.
I am. Yes.
It's at create_yourself_coaching. And then you also have a website, Create Yourself Z.
That's right.
Awesome. And we'll put that in the show notes for sure. And I imagine if somebody asks you about the program, you're open to chatting with them in the
100%.
DMs.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. I'm not shut up about it. So feel free to reach out. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Well, I just want to ask you this question. It's a fun one I ask all of my guests, which is if you're walking down the street and a random person comes up to you and they're asking you your best life advice of the moment, what would you say?
Of the moment, it is listen to yourself. Listen to your intuition. Don't outsource what you've got inside you. It's never going to feel right anyway. You've got the answers inside you. Your gut is telling you what to do. So, if you haven't been able to connect to that, find a way to connect to that and listen, because it's always going to be the right answer inside you. Yeah.
That's so powerful. I love that. And I think just to add to that, it's this other layer of getting out of our trauma brain and getting into a regulated nervous system.
Yes.
And intentionally tuning into the truth.
Yes.
Instead of other stuff from our past. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And journaling on that, I think, if you can't connect to it from the mind, which is doing all the thinking, just start journaling and it comes forward. I do it every day.
I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Such good advice.
Thank
Well,
you.
you've just been lovely to have on the show. I need to get out to New Zealand. We now have, gosh, I think we have 4 to 5 clients who come from New Zealand. So
wow. Yeah, representing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
Australia. I would love it.
It's so cool that it's accessible, right? Worldwide. So I'm stoked that I was able to get my hands on it. But yeah, I'm telling everyone about it that I can, because it really is gold. And I think as well, like starting with the podcast, interacting with the content was the first step for me. And if you're not sure about it, do that. Yeah, that's a really good way to kind of get familiar with what you're going to be learning.
I love it. So good, Rachel. Well, you are just such a wonderful person, and I'm really, really excited for this next chapter of your life.
Thank you. Me too. Yeah. And thank you for everything you've done for me.
You're so welcome. So welcome. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Rachel and I are both wishing you high self-worth and great relationships. Until next time.